Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good evening. Please stand for the territorial song.
Oh, Montserrat, dear motherland, your children raise your standard high in toil and tears to serve you well, a crowning jewel from God's hand. Oh, Montserrat, by nature blessed, to you your children sing. Come, well of all, come, friend of all, to you your people cling.
I will now invite Miss Sonia Smith to do the opening prayer.
Let us pray. Father, we want to thank you for this occasion as we celebrate the life of Sir Howard Fergus. We thank you that you are the creator and you have placed it into our lives, the gifts and talents we need to create as well. We ask you to bless the session tonight, bless everyone who is going to read, and I pray that all of us indeed would enjoy what is occurring tonight. We ask that your favor be upon us. Bless all who are involved, the AFW staff, Lord, and the all the persons, Father God, who will be taking part in the session tonight. We give you praise, we give you glory. Thank you for the sound people. We bless them, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
You may be seated. Good evening and welcome to Play on Words, a tribute to Sir Howard Fergus. Play on Words usually features original poetry and spoken word pieces and is a much looked forward to part of the Aliogana Festival of the Word every year. This year, however, we've seen it fit to honor one of Montserrat's literary giants who passed away earlier this year, Sir Howard Fergus. This evening, you will be treated to readings by poets, spoken word artists, children, lovers of Sir Howard's pieces. They will be reading, some of them, their favorite piece by him, and others, maybe they were just steered in that direction with a little nudge from a parent or a teacher, right? So, without further ado, we'll get right into it and get this evening started out with a video from Merle Roach. She is known as Aliogana Pearl. She resides in the UK and she's a daughter of the soil. She doesn't need much introduction. She sent her video to pay her tribute to Sir Howard.
Hello, everyone. My name is Merle Roach, and I'm feeling very privileged to be a part of the Aliagana Festival of the Word, Play on Words, a tribute to Sir Howard A. Fergus. It wasn't easy choosing two poems that Dr. Fergus wrote, but eventually I did, and I settled on two poems from his book, A Word in Season with St. Patrick's Day and Mango Poems. The first poem I chose was Original Poet. It is as clear to me as daylight. Yahweh is the original poet. with celestial flights of imagination, creator in and of the beginning, rhyme or no rhyme, he said, "Let there be light." And there was light. So he was dead right. This was the genesis of poetry. Poetry pregnant with reality, the opening sentence to an epic story in verse form, the opening line of the human drama ascending, rise and fall, and our inherited power to name the birds and beasts was a preface, our first creative piece. And when Jesus speaks of the glorious garb, of lilies outglowing Solomon's splendor, and the gleaming raiments of the grass, his use of metaphor mirrors his poetic pedigree and his class, pure class. And what a better piece of magical realism than a mad Nebuchadnezzar eating grass under the wet of heaven, or spirituous John swimming in a boiling pot of oil at Patmos without becoming palatable, to reveal the literary genius of the Lord and his inventive attitude. It is no accident that David and Son were poets after the heart of God and manner of Jesus Christ, original poets of the universe, writing songs for the morning stars. Poets in apprentice, I bring fealty to him who had no need to deeply drink. He is the source of the Pierian spring. The second poem I'm going to share with you is Fruitful. There's a sweet, sweet side to Montserrat. When ripe fruits are in season, mangoes dropping on your head and falling at your feet, you can suck a mango's breast for nourishment or bite into it ravenously, spilling juice at the corner of your mouth. You disrobe bananas for breakfast instead of Scotch rolled oats from Tesco in Birmingham, the Witten branch. Avocados picked a little prematurely in the neighbor's garden. Lard your bread like relish and go down easily with the breadfruit. Sugar apple, no relative to cane, is an innocent sweetener like soursop, which deserves a tastier name. Warm yellow poppers of many sizes and shapes liven the repast, and you save healthily with a tropical breakfast, grateful for this green and yellow blessing, and to the Lord of harvest. Oh, for a means to prolong the treat, rescue others perishing on their limbs or dying in the street. My tribute to Sir Howard A. Fergus.
I bet she left your mouth watering because all of a sudden I'm feeling for mango, avocado, and bananas, right? That was Aliogana Pearl Milroach. Thank you so much for sending us your tributes all the way from England. Up next, we have a youngster, Clevon Ryan. He is a grade 5 student at the Braids Primary School. And we know that Sir Howard wrote that book telling us about the history of St. Patrick's, right? Clevon's going to give us Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, I will be reading a poem called Happy St. Patrick's Day by Sir Howard Fergus. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day sounds like a mockery this year. It crept in this morning on a solemn tide without a prance or drumbeat, as invisible as the virus which took its breath away and kept us grounded like the rest of the world, rubbishing boast and bigotry for a season. It is a day to ponder, a year to remember, beyond loss of a dollar, the color of pageantry, the authenticity of food, the arguments of origin. It is a day to reflect on the helplessness of man, the shortness of our little dance, and maybe after all, the reality of God. If we adjust the perspectives and learn the lessons which are shouting at us from the pages of Corona, it may be a joyous St. Patrick's Day without a jump up extravaganza.
Very well done, Clevon. And up next, we're going to have another youngster, Charlene McNichols. She's a grade 6 student of the Braids Primary School, and she'll be reading two pieces for us, Bush Doctor and If God.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I will be reading the poems Bush Doctor and If God. Bush Doctor. My doctor tells me there's no cure for COVID-19, and he is within his right. So I repair to the Bush Doctor, to the tested wisdom of the ancients, true and tried by time, who prescribes a tea-bush potion of carefully selected leaves, rainfall, moringa, aniseed, fever grass, panculi, and the inflammation bush. They knew which ones to use to sponge you down from a fever, or if you jerk your inside from a fall, get a sad cold from drought, or develop a wheezy stubborn cough. And there were weeds to wash you, not in blood like God, but an obey bath to ward off spirits who clearly meant no good. Our ancestors had no license, took no hypocritical oath. Their proof is in their practice, and we affirm their worth. If God. If God plays ball all now next week, I will be off the COVID-19 roll call. No longer a case except in the recovery category. Looking forward to coming out like homosexuals with only sort of a stigma, but who cares? I would have ended my affair with COVID-19, a sick liaison that caused more pain than pleasure, except to be waited on hand and foot with 3 round meals as in Her Majesty's prison, and bathed in new love to boot. If God steps up to the plate and breaks my leash, as he has been besieged with passionate plea, by this time next week, I will be free, except for the combat category, which carries no stigma, usually. As God cooperates, all now next week, I will have escaped Corona's fell embrace. By Sir Howard Fergus, I thank you.
That was Charlene McNichols. And just before her, we had Clevon Ryan. Joining us next will be Mr. Sandre Thomas. He's going to do for us Behind God Back. You know, Caribbean people in here, right? We know what Behind God Back mean, right? Far, 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 far away. Martin, you know Behind God Back? Yeah, near the airport? Love it. Behind God Back, far.
Good evening, everyone. Behind God back. Someplace I hope we don't end up. You come from a 2B3 island, hard like rock, black. You have another handicap, and you come from long ground, way behind God back. They taught like a fool. Never told you miles of cotton went to Liverpool to line the Bank of England from long ground behind God back. He should have turned around and catch the thieves white-handed, white and black. They took you for an imbecile. Never told you Montserrat Tobacco made WD and H.O. Wills. Rich testators of Bristol University shading their names on the crest of history with long-grown tobacco, bought behind God back. Never told you how your mother's strong to carry Bukra cotton and his seed. Fertile like long-grown soil, strong to carry bales of history and Bukra deeds, heavy like a sack of cotton picked behind God back. People in town didn't know half white and brown were black until they went to England. Enoch Powell went to pack them back, rejected like stained cotton. Didn't know that when God turned around, his smile like a rainbow, lit long ground with hope, and cotton children weave shoestrap to pull themselves up from. Thank you.
And for those who don't know Montserrat geography, long ground far. Yeah, it real far. It's song and so. Behind God back. In Trinidad, we say quite or quite. Oh. You from so far, quite there, behind God back. Next up, I will call a fellow literary giant in her own right, author, teacher, poet. She have a whole book of poetry. Miss Anne-Marie Dewar is going to give us two pieces from Sir Howard Fergus.
The first piece I'm going to read is entitled At 69 or Penultimate. And I particularly chose this poem because Sir Howard was, at the time of writing, he was 69 years old and contemplating his 70. And those of you who know my story will know that 69 was a very pivotal year for me. And on the day I turned 70, I had a life-changing surgery, and it could have been very different. So this poem really resonates with me. I am 69 today. Time to take stock of a departure date, however inexact. I claim a little reason, but never famous for my strength. I will not guess or gamble on weary days of length. At 9 for a 6, I will not miss. And I have no hell-bent wish to dally with death. Precautionary merely, I number my last year ahead. No brought-up bonus, no top-up on 70 like mobiles at the telephone company or hagglers in the marketplace. I buy as is. The marked price fixed above by random rule or grace. Life, like cricket, is uncertain. You are allowed a single innings to build your score, to make a name for the Ashes or for glory. Respondent to a moving ball on a brown and wearing pitch, you expect benefit of doubt before a lean finger calls over, out, and the lonely walk to the pavilion to ironical all-round applause. A Cancerian, I don't mean I'm wedded to the dreaded disease. My death, they say, is in the stars. This wars with my theology, but After hours of anesthetics and the surgeon's kindest cut, dismantling me piece by bloody piece, you wonder about certainties. At 69, the penultimate, I take stock of the departure date, putting my house in order before I'm late. And the next one is entitled Relay. And by the way, they're from this book, which was published in 2007, I think, Christmas Festival and More Volcanic Poems. This is called Relay. It sounded like the island split in two as the news of the exploding mountain resonated in London, Birmingham, and Leicester, far louder than at Runaway Gut in Montserrat. The wind in the upper atmosphere shifted into supersonic gear, and ash traveled for miles with dense fallout in Aston, Hackney, and Stoke Newington, and hamlets in between. And they smelt the gas like giant maws of flatulence at Ridley Market, where pubs knew the mountain was on fire long before Lookout could look up in Montserrat. Cheap telephones in the mother country panicked like sirens, making Nene nervous over her godchild at Happy Hill and a separated son-in-law planted at Cheap End. And Fine Twine and other immigrants say that the tired say the Queen should padlock Montserrat. But when the snow, or rather ash, was cleared away and frost from double-glazed windows, they learned that England, white and black, were drinking sunshine twice a day and bathing in volcanic sands at Woodlands and Cars Bay to the dizzy sounds of music. So they plan to come next year.
Penned like only Sir Howard could, and read like only Anne-Marie can. I didn't plan to read a poem tonight, but in doing all the preparation for tonight, I read more Sir Howard Fergus pieces than I've read in my life put together, really. I came across this one. It's really short, so I just want to share it with you just before we get into our next video. It's called My Purse. He who steals my purse steals trash. But leave my BlackBerry or Samsung and credit card intact so I can flash a pass to the top of the line, provided it's up to date. Buy now, pay late. My flat screen television set is priceless, a real steal, if you see what I mean. Whoever steals my purse steals trash. In this bare bones economy, I am always short on cash, both the current and the flow. My purse. Now we will get into another video. This one is from Jadine Greenaway. We know her as the soca diva, but tonight she's a poet. And she's going to give us Saturday Soup.
Saturday Soup. Saturday Soup was not fixed just for Saturday, nor was it cream of anything, or cold consommé drunk with a delicate spoon pushed gently to the shore from the middle of the pond. You couldn't explore the deep and hit the bowl irreverently, soiling protocol cooked up for cookery and genteel company. Cold soup was a contradiction unless brought forward after a recycling fashion, and to alleviate sourness you applied heating. Soup was an entree. Soup was serious eating. A patent potpourri, 3 courses blended in one, all ingredients on the same footing, wasting none. A democratic pot. Cabbage and carrot had the same vote, all relish relevant. Belly, chicken bottom, head of goat with a dumpling admixture anyone can make, needing no kneading. You mix it up like cake. Cut with a spoon, drop it in, plop. They're easy on the teeth, trumpers are soft. Saturday soup was a poor man's pot. Whatever day of the week, you cook what you got. A miscellaneous menu good for any time, save Sunday. The poor man's day to dine in style with a solid meal, no soup for hurried slurp after a full stomach. You break for a leisurely burp. Sophisticated soup did not fly in tins from abroad. It was homemade, your own full foot, from your own yard. If grandmother comes back, she gets a culture shock to see Saturday soup in cat and dog cook shop. But Ma will still be pleased that this favorite cuisine from a common element in the chemistry of her kitchen. So we eat a loyal toast to Saturday soup. If your pot ever runs on reef, a solid way to stop a gap. Saturday soup.
We hungry again? We have a recurring theme here tonight. Next up, Miss Sonia Smith. Two poems from Sir Howard, Can't Stop Christmas and There's Another Country.
Good evening, everyone. Good night. All right. There's Another Country is based on a sermon that he did at our church. And I've just loved, the poem after he wrote it. And the second one, as was said, is Can't Stop Christmas. It's just a fun poem that I enjoyed. There's Another Country. By faith he stayed as a foreigner in the land of promise, living in tents with Isaac and Jacob. For he was looking forward to the city that has foundations, whose architect and builder is God. Hebrews 11. When sin robbed man of his original address, assigning him to earth and dust, he expected someday to regain a lasting land of rest. Abraham declined to build a permanent home in property God promised him, claiming title to just sufficient land in which to build a tomb. So he and his entire family lived in tents, anticipating a city that has foundation, since this present world has no permanence. God himself will be the architect and also the benevolent ruler, and there will be no disappointment among sinful men made perfect. There is another country, its gates still open wide, and the Spirit and bride say, come. There is room for repentant folks inside. He who drove us out of paradise invites us to come back in with Jesus Christ, who by death redeemed and fitted us for the skies. We are but pilgrims and sojourners here, with a better land, the heavenly one, in view, where God shall wipe away all tears. Where no hurricanes and pandemics come and volcanoes never blow. It is a heavenly country. It is our final home. Heaven is a prepared place for a prepared people, maybe a dull cliche, but we need a passport stamped with Jesus' blood to make our entry to be possible. Can't stop Christmas. King Herod couldn't kill the Christ child, nor COVID Christmas. Sorrel and ginger beer flowed locally in abundance. A suckling pig came to Minister G by post. And Uncle Ray and nephew, coronavirus proof, journeyed safely to Montserrat, evading customs and quarantine, to gladden their close friends at the party. Though Brother F doesn't touch the stuff, merry with his bowl bulging with relish, a big dark cake, moist with drizzles of drink, and could be more heady than you think. I was able to hold living intercourse across the water with my Zoom church in England and its spillover posse, celebrating bottom long ground and other choice localities, tracing long families, showing glory, and resurrecting old time story. We had a ball. Happy that COVID and Uncle Boris couldn't kill our Christmas after all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Just before we get to the Fergus family, we'll have a word from our festival coordinator, Miss Narissa Golden. She's gonna read a poem for us. Apparently, she has a favorite. If anyone in the audience has a favorite Sir Howard poem that you would like to read, please just catch my attention, and we will allow you to do so. Narissa Golden.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know if there's such a thing as a favorite one because he has so many amazing ones and they just kind of connect you with life on a whole. And it's always beautiful to see how he saw things and just kind of made it simple. Here's one called Bad Grammar. It's from Poems from Behind God Back. Ever wonder why so much disunity, such skin and bone prosperity? Is because life is like grammar. Noun and verb must agree, not rulers on land and people at sea. I pause for a drink, I light up and think. After sober reflection, conjugation, declension, I analyze and pass new old world scars. It is a prodigal ways to live your life in the objective case. Teacher tell you what to do, preacher tell you what to do, politicians who don't know what to do, treating you with their recipe too. You're at the bitter end of a doing verb, a finite verb, nouns on top of you, but life is like grammar. The subject must fit the sentence. So tell H.W. Fowler, commute the sentence. Give me a grammar transplant. I am a proper noun, virile gender, daughter, and I make plural number. A proper noun, nominative case. Man, stop running, handicap steeplechase. To take his rightful place in society, elevate the race. Man tired of this history of broken grammar, weak verb, may, might, could. I am a positive, high IQ, full bright blood. Away with the subjunctive mood. Master have the handle, slave have the blade, planter have the handle, worker have the blade, booker have the handle, black man have the blade, politicians have the handle, the people afraid to get caught. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the hour of decision. I and I don't make we choice. We shall leave the lap of complacency and neo-colonial mimicry to live henceforth in the active voice. We shall fight injustice and downpression with common gender, paddle our own destiny against alien currents and adverse conjunctions with infinite fortitude, defend freedom and human rights in the indicative mood, governed by the preposition over. Understood? Life is like grammar, tongue and teeth must agree. To sing in concord, score a harmony, life is like grammar, noun and verb must agree, like man and wife. I am a proper noun, you have to see with me. God grant you grace to live henceforth in the nominative case.
Play on words indeed. Definitely play on words. So, if no one else has a poem, I would now invite. Yes? Sir Howard. Yeah? You want to read your favorite Sir Howard poem? Come on up. I know you are the principal of Lookout Primary School. Yeah, and I know you're from St. Kitts. Okay. Yeah. That's your mic.
Glad to be here to participate in this small but serious exercise. What makes a nation's pillars high and its foundations strong? What makes it mighty to defy the foes that round it throng? It is not gold. Its kingdoms grand go down in battle shock. Its shafts are laid on sinking sand, not on abiding rock. Is it the sword? Ask the red dust of empires passed away. The blood has turned their stones to rust, their glory to decay. Or is it pride? Ah, that bright crown has seemed to nations sweet, but God has struck its luster down in ashes at his feet. Not these things, but only man can make a people great and strong. Men who, for truth and honor's sake, stand fast and suffer long. Brave men who work while others sleep, who dare while others fly. They build a nation's pillars deep and lifted them to the sky. Yes, men like Howard Fergus. Here is one of his poetic constructs. It's entitled Positive. Much negative is heard about at an election season. The multitude of candidates is but one of the reason. But there is also much to appreciate. One, for me, is the quality of the debate. Not just of official candidates, but also by declared opponents and surrogates. You can't flash certificates and fool the electorate. And mere experience is not necessarily adequate. None can just herd us in their pack any longer with our skills of analysis now grown stronger. With so many touting love of country, we are no longer taken in by tomfoolery. Candidates make vocational choices and must live. They run because they hopefully wish to give. Prestige and emolument are not irrelevant. So do not treat the electorate as having no sense. Windy promises voters can often tell in a literate democracy like ours, which is alive and well. Thank you.
Thank you. My memory went a little bit there, but I was trying to say that he is the new principal of the Lookout Primary School, native of St. Kitts, correct? And also a poet and author, right? So coming now is Carla Lee, and she is daughter of Sir Howard Fergus. She will be speaking on behalf of the Fergus family.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of my mother, Lady Eudora Fergus, and my siblings, Coretta and Colin, who unfortunately could not join us tonight, we extend our heartfelt thanks to the Aliogana Festival of the Word and the Montserrat Public Library for organizing this tribute evening in honor of my late father, Sir Howard Fergus. It's quite fitting because he was a regular author at the festival since its inception and had a tradition of launching a new collection of poems at almost every event. The readings of his favorite poems by many of you tonight have been incredibly touching. We are grateful to those who attended the event in person and to those joining us online. It is heartwarming to see how his words have resonated with and impacted so many lives. His legacy lives on not only in our family, but also in the hearts of everyone who have been moved by his works. My mother, Lady Fergus, wishes to express her deep gratitude for all the expressions of sympathy we have received through messages, cards, phone calls, and visits.
Your support and encouragement have been invaluable to us during our time of grief. My father was a humble man, but I believe he would have been deeply moved by tonight's proceedings. I would like to conclude these remarks with some of his words, hoping to do justice to the rhythm and tone that he would have used. This is called Tribute at Evening. A kind-hearted person wrote a piece for me that exudes positive energy exclusively. And given my ripened age, I wondered if it were a pre-mortem eulogy, presaging in the short run my inevitable death, or a flower to prettify what's left of me, leaving the evil for the genuine interment. But until then, I hold my breath and appreciate the magic of the moment and the generosity of the piece from someone's personal perspective, instead of ruining the poet's package with a dull reasoning and negative analysis. More bibliography than biography, she presented many of my works in attractive cover. I look a real author in her lines instead of a wannabe, raising highfalutin thoughts of literary legacy. There I go again, reading too much into the woman's verse, wishing to celebrate me and the art of writing, which she herself exemplifies. In any case, writing is a big slice of my life, and whoever makes me look good on the page is a friend, and these do not come cheaply. That was a roundabout way to speak my gratefulness to this voluntary observer for hymning me with night closing in, saying musically to the world, I wrote my name, perhaps indelibly, during the short innings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carla. I now invite Narissa to give the vote of thanks.
Evening. It was heartwarming, as Carla, to use her words, to hear you speak his words, because he wrote so many of them so beautifully. I think the wonderful thing about this festival is the ability to celebrate words. And I know we use them every day, but we actually take their impact for granted. And so tonight, just coming out to celebrate all of the gifts that he put into writing. It takes effort. Anyone who's written a poem in class, an essay, or anything, and those who dared to go and publish it and say, here, I did this, would you like to buy it? Know how stressful it can be, but also how powerful it is when you know that you could release something from inside of you and offer it to the world. And he has given Montserrat, he's given his family, he's given the world tremendous, tremendous gifts that I think we are going to be, in years to come, still be referencing. I think one of the things I love, if you've ever read one of his history books, he has often he's often had to reference his own poetry. You know, something he wrote at a previous time to confirm what happened, because poetry ends up becoming a form of history because there's nothing else. So I want to encourage you tonight to write. If you have an idea, a dream, a story, Montserrat has lots of poets. So if that's the area that Montserrat wants to flourish in, then flourish in your poetry. If it's something more creative, go ahead and do that, but definitely put it into words. I want to say thank you first to the Montserrat Public Library for hosting us tonight. Sonia, thank you so much for all of the support. And please give that thanks to your staff as well for facilitating us. Also to Charlene, who's been my right hand, helping me to put the festival together and hosting tonight. Ivor and his team at iTech, I always forget them, so I'm sticking them in early. But there's not an event that I do that I don't call Ivor, because I know I don't have to think about anything once I say, Ivor, this is what I need. So thank you so much. The same thing for Philip Braid and Paulisa. Thank you. These are my guys. I go to sleep. I don't worry about what's to happen. And I'm very grateful for that. We're going to share this message with Merle for her video. Jay Dean did such an amazing job, always. Sandra had to slip out to go to work, so we're thankful that he took the time to come. Mrs. Osborne, please, all of the students who contributed, thank you so much for having them. Sherlyn McNichols, is it Clavon? Clavon Ryan, thank you. Sonia, thanks for reading. Miss Dior, thank you. And Miss Dior has, if you come down to the book launch tomorrow at 12 o'clock at the Cultural Center, we'll have a couple copies of What Mommy Say. And if you go to her, tell her you're interested in getting her new book, God's Plans Were Better. It's amazing. I read it. I got to read it early. It's really, really good. You're going to get to see a different side of Miss Dior. But it's a wonderful side. She's a remarkable woman, and it's an amazing story. It's going to be quite inspiring. Carla and Terry, thank you. Please give the family our thanks. Thank you for allowing us to do this. I have wanted to do so many things for him over the years. Time has just not allowed me to, personally, and I know the festival as well would love to even do more in the future. But thank you so much. For everyone that came out, thank you very much. For those of you watching online, we appreciate you being there. And we have refreshments in the back that we hope that you will stick around and enjoy with us. And please take a few photos. We also have a new festival t-shirt that's available. It's $50 for adults and $40 for kids. And there are also books by Dr. Fergus available on sale that you should grab a copy of. They're also on Amazon if you're not here tonight. Take care.
Thank you, Narissa. Thank you to each and every one of you for coming out tonight and just enjoying our tribute to Sir Howard Fergus. Thank you to everyone who performed. And of course, as Narissa said, for the AFW viewers online, we say a big, big thank you for joining us from wherever you are. Tomorrow, that's Saturday, make sure to head on down to the Montserrat Cultural Center. Things start at 12. It's the book launch. We're going to have a few Montserrat authors and also the MVO prize giving for their writing competition. That takes place tomorrow as well. Walk with some money. You know, if you don't have your money, Miss Dua will be accepting Bank of Montserrat app payments. Hey, I'm going to insert that plug there because I'm just so proud of my girl just setting up her Bank of Montserrat app. So if you don't have that cash, don't worry. We accept other forms of payment. But head down to the Montserrat Cultural Center and just support local, support Caribbean authors, get into LitFest. We also have a whole program that's going on online. So check out our Facebook page, that's AFW LitFest on Facebook, and you'll be able to see everything that's happening for LitFest because it is a hybrid festival. And Saturday afternoon, 6 o'clock, it is the Arrow lecture. You don't want to miss that either. So you weren't able to join us here in person, but you're watching us online, so stay online. We have more stuff coming up, right? For those that are here, though, we have snacks, so don't run away. Have a good night. Get home safely if you're already home. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you and good night.